Now to health insurance coverage. The Lagos State government has inaugurated the Lagos State Health Scheme Enforcement Team, marking the commencement of full implementation of the executive order given by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on mandatory social health insurance, aimed at ensuring that no resident is denied access to quality healthcare.
The Lagos State Health Management Agency was established by the Enabling Act No. 14 of May the 25th, 2015, to ensure all residents of Lagos State, including public servants, access affordable and qualitative health care. For over a decade, the Lagos State Health Insurance Scheme, called Ilera Eko, has been fully active and embraced by most residents. The mandatory health insurance scheme, ordered by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, is the reason for this gathering in Alausa, Ikeja, as government formally inaugurates the Lagos State Health Scheme Enforcement Team that will ensure that no resident is denied access to health care due to financial constraint.
Social health insurance is a government-regulated system that pools contributions to ensure everyone can access essential services, with the healthy supporting the sick, ensuring financial sustainability, equity, and protection for all. The enforcement team carries a responsibility of significant public interest. Members are therefore expected to discharge their duties with the highest standards of professionalism, fairness, and integrity. With the head of service as the lead enforcer, we have commenced the decoration of distinguished members of the Lagos State Executive Council and agency leaders as enforcement leads, and we will continue to recognize additional enforcement leads to strengthen compliance across the state. This role reflects the confidence reposed in your leadership and commitment to the well-being of Lagos residents. As enforcement leads, your guidance and stakeholder reach are invaluable in reinforcing compliance across the state and in lending credibility and authority to the enforcement process.
The Director General of the National Health Insurance Authority applauds the Lagos State government for pioneering its mandatory health insurance scheme.
One of the critical things that drives people into poverty is lack of health care. And there's a term that we use, it's called health poverty. And who are those that are health poor? They include those who cannot afford to put their hands in their pockets and pay for health care. But they also include those who, even though they have the money to pay for healthcare, are just one major illness from being plunged into poverty because they have to pay catastrophic costs of healthcare. And insurance is a better way to do that, so that it's not at 2 a.m. in the middle of the night where you need healthcare that you have to start looking for property to sell, where to borrow money from, because life and death depends on it. And it's against this background that His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, issued an executive order to begin to propel the residents of Lagos towards being financially protected for the costs of healthcare. And as I said at the last meeting we had with the permanent secretaries, anytime Lagos is launching, I will be here in person to be the cheerleader and to support it. There are certain principles that we need to live by. It's important that it is mandatory, and therefore it's an all-of-government approach. That's why the leadership of the head of service has been very critical in moving this forward. It's not just the health sector's responsibility. So everyone who has a mandate for governance and enforcing, they have to come to support this so that we can do this together. Secondly, it's also important that while we enforce this, people understand why it is important. Awareness must be created. People must know that this is not just a tax. This is for your own benefits. So it's really important that we communicate the importance and we communicate the benefit to the residents of Lagos, and that it not be seen as government imposing something on them. This is something that will benefit every man, every woman, and every child in Lagos, and must be seen as such.
A new directive from the Office of the Head of Service emphasizes that civil servants must present evidence of Ilera Eko enrollment during their monthly staff audits.
You know that we all do audits every month. So, no enrollment, no pay. That way we ensure that all officers are enrolled. Because like we said the other time, they work for fitness. All officers are enrollees already, but they have not formally enrolled. So to ensure that they are now formally enrolled, if they do not attach the enrollment evidence to the pay at site form, it should not be signed, and of course that means no payment. Because in Lagos State, a healthy staff is a productive staff.
The head of service clarifies public concerns, explaining that the enforcement is not about arrests or sanctions, but about advocacy, persuasion, and moral suasion, and will begin with ministries, departments, and agencies in the first quarter of the year.
The word enforcement is not it's not like we're going to pick you up, arrest you, or lock you up, or anything like that. No, it's more of an advocacy thing. We're going to ensure massive advocacy to ensure the success of the program. The enforcement here also is a moral persuasion. So we're going to reach out, we're going to talk, we're going to show you and convince you of the benefits of the Ilera Eco. Like we used to say, every time when we do our work for fitness, Zamba is always there to give guidance on the Ilera Eco, telling our staff that government has paid for, how many percent? What's the percentage that we pay? We pay 75%. You're only going to pay 25%. And then you're not making use of it. We're wasting money. You know, so the enforcement is to engage, advocate, and convince, and show them the quality and the quality and what Ilera Eco entails. So we're not going to be arresting people. We're not going to be locking anybody up. We're just going to convince you to do it. And then it also entails monitoring MDAs to ensure that they restrict government services to those that have not enrolled. So those are the basic areas that word enforcement entails. So just to allay any fears that we're not picking people up, especially when they see that the chairman Lagos State Task Force is a member, you know. So that's just it. So like I said, government must lead by example. Enforcement must begin with us, so we're going to begin with us. And this is the first task of the enforcement team, to ensure that all MDAs comply with the executive order by enrolling all their staff, including the national registration link on their website for easy access to residents, and requiring proof of Ilera Eco. So this is one of the ways we just need to make people, to persuade people. You know, it's just like for LRS and tax matters as well. You need to show that you've paid tax in order to have access to certain facilities. We've also issued a circular to that effect. So, and a circular to, everybody knows what the circular here entails. It means that you have to follow that circular. If you don't follow that circular, it's an offense that can lead to so many consequences by the MDAs. So that circular must be obeyed. The PSPSO here is here to commence the process against anybody that flouts the circular. The enforcement team being inaugurated today has been carefully constituted from a cross-section of relevant regulatory and oversight institutions. Your role is critical. Enforcement is not punitive. It is a government tool to ensure compliance, accountability, and translation of policy into tangible outcomes for our people. I expect the enforcement focal persons to return to their respective MDAs and secure the involvement of their principals to facilitate structured engagements ahead of official visits.
The Lagos State government encourages residents to embrace the Ilera Eco health insurance scheme and reduce out-of-pocket expenses.